The Giver by Lois Lowry, Chapter 7. Now Jonas' group had taken a new place in the auditorium, treading with the new 11s, so that they sat in the very floor immediately before the stage. They were arranged by the original numbers, the numbers they had been given at birth. The numbers were really used after naming, but each child knew his number of course. Sometimes parents use an irrational at a child's misbehavior. In that case, that mischief made unworthy of a name. Jonas always chuckled when they heard a parent, exasperated, call sharply to whining toddler. That's enough 23. Jonas was 19. He had been in the 19 new child born his year. It had meant at the naming he had been already standing prostrate, so that walk and talk. It had given him a slight advance the first year or two, a little more momentary than many of group's mates, who had been born in the latter months of that year, but the events of it always did, by 3. After 3, the child progressed at much the same level, though now by the first number on could always tell, who has a few months older than others in the group. Technology Jonas' field number was 1119. Since there were other 19s, of course, each a GAF group, and today no non-11s has been advanced this morning. There were 2 11s 19. At the mid-break he had exasperated, smiled with the new ones, a she female named Harriet. But the duplication was only for these 3 hours. Very soon he would not be 11 but 12, and age would no longer matter. He would be an adult, like his parents, to now a new one, an ultra still. Asher was poor, and sat now in the row ahead of Jonas. He would say his a same fort. Fiona, 18, was at his left. On his other she sat 20, a man named Pierre, one Jonas didn't like much. Pierre was very seriously, not much fun awarding and total too. Have you checked the ruler, Jonas? Pierre was always whispering solemnly. I'm not sure that's winning the rules. Usually, it was Saint's feelings this that no one cared about. Opening his tunic if was a day way of race, taking a breath their own friend's bicycle. Just the experience the different feel of it. The initial space of the ceremony of 12 was made by the chief leader, the leader of community who was elected every 10 years. The speech was much the same each year, recollection of the themes of childhood and the periods of preparation, the coming responsibilities of adult life, the pronouncing parades of assignment, the series of training to come. The chief never moved as he heard her speech. This is the time. She began looking directly at him. When we outlet difference, you 11s had spent all years till now learning to fit in the sternum. See, you bring her the core and impulses that mean set you apart from a group. But we honors your difference. They had determined your futures. She began to describe the year's group and its variety of personalities. To know she singled no one of big name. She mentioned that there was one who had singular skills and courting, another who loved new children, one with unusual scientific aptitudes, and a fourth for group physical labor was the obvious versus. Jonas shifted in the sheet training to recognize each reference us and his group mates. The karting skills were the debut tools of Fiona. On his left, he remembered noticed the turns by which he had made the old. Probably the one his scientific aptitude was Benjamin, the man who had inspired new important equipment for the Association Center. He heard nothing that the recognized of shameful Jonas. Finally, the chief elder paid tribute to hard work of the communicate, which had performed the observation 2 mystical alger. The committee of elders stood and was engulfed by applause. Jonas noticed Asher John single, covering his mounty political with his hand. Then a last at field elder called number 1 to the chest as the signatures began. Each animals with loading accompanied by the speech director of New 12. Jonas tried to pay attention. As one, smiled happily, recognized a signature of fish hitter a day along which heard a prize for his chin spending main volunteer horse tree, and her obviously interest in important process of promoting a natural of community. Number 1. Her name is Nathaly. Returning finalmente. Amidst applause to her sing, wherein the new advance to the sign here fish held at hand. Jonas was certain glad the assignment was taken. He would have wanted of the he given Nathaly of a smile and congratulation. With two a family number in her, received her a signature of its home mother. Jonas remembered that his mother had called in the job one another honor, but the throne that they communicate has too well. Engineer was a nice girl town someone lassie, and her body was strong. She would endure the 3 years of being pampered that would follow her brief training. She would give birth easily and well, and the task of laborate that would follow while use the strength to keep her healthy, and import self-discipline. In her was smiling when he resumed her seat. Your mother has an important job is located in praise. Jonas noticed the Asher local nervous. He kept turning his head and glancing back at Jonas until the group leader had to give it a silent chance beneath admonition to sit skill a face forward. 3. Isaac was given a significant instruction of 16, which obviously pleased him as was well deserved. Now there were 3 signatures, who one, none of them was to Jonas would highlight. No that he could have been a better money. Anyway, he realized by amusing. He tried to sport training the lace in his mind, the possibilities a signature to remember, but there were so many he gave it up. And anyway, no disaster through. He paid strict attention to his friend when the stage of stool self-consolation received the chief elder. All of us they communicate now and just Asher. The chief elder began. Asher writing a stretched out leg while another foot. The audience chuckled awfully. When the communique began to consider Asher's a signature, she went on. There were some possibilities that were immediately discouraged. Sometimes the swell clearing not have been already for Asher. For example, she went smiling. We did not consider, for instance, the sign Asher of instruction of trees. The audience whole light went longer. Asher loaded 2 looking Spanish, but please pay attention. The instruction of trees were in charge of acquisition of current language. In fact, the chief elder continued, chuckling a little airframe. We went up a little to note to sometimes attractive chances for the one to have been Asher instruction of 3 so long ago. At the meeting where Asher was discussed, we retold many of the stories that we all remember from its days always acquisition. Especially, she said chuckling, the difference between snacks and smalls. Remember Asher? Asher nodded reflectively and the audience laughed, although Jonas did too. He remembered through he had been only 3 and Hilson, the Punisher used for small. Children were regulated system and smoked with the disciplining one, and think flexibly weapon that stonely pontiflowly when it was willing. The child care specialists were training very careful in the discipline methods. A kid smiled across the hands for a hit of Miss Millover. 3 sharper smacks of the belly legs for a second offense. Poor Asher, who always talking too fast and mixing the words, 11 told her. As a 3-year for the whips and cracks and smack time, he one day smacked of his smacked as he stood waiting in the line for the morning treat. Jonas remembered clearly. He could stage little Asher, wiggling with the impatience of the line. He remembered a cheerful voice called out, "It was my smacks." The other 3 include Jonas, how longer nebulously, snack the correctly. You mean snack Asher? But the mistake he had been, and precision on language was one of most important tasks of small children. Asher had escaped for a smack. The disciplined one, in the hand of the child care worker. Wielding as they come down at thrones Asher's hands. Asher whimpered in cranes and curled emphasis instantly. Snack, he whispered. But the new morning he had done it again, and again the following week. The cause in the stove, to none for each lesson in the discipline. One came again, scaling to a serious, opining lotion the had marks of Asher's legs, eventually, for a period of time. Asher stopped talking altogether when he was a 3. For a while, the chief elder said, relation the story. He was silent, Asher, but her learned. She turned to him with a smile. When he began to walk against it was with greater precision, and now his lapses are very few. His corrections and apologies are very prompt, and his good humor is unfailing. The audience moved in agreement. Asher's careful disposition was well known throughout the community. Asher, she lifted his voice to make the official announcement. We had given to a sign of a sin direction of recreative. She clipped on his bucket of the stop beside her bonhomie. The head actor left the stage of audience chair. He had taken his seat against the chief elder looked to down in the hill and said the words that she had said 4 times, and was saying the is to 12. Is no one. She had a special meaning for each of them. Asher, she says, thank you for your childhood. The segments continue, and Jonas watched a listed revelation now by the careful assignment his best friend had been given. But he was more and more apprehensive as his one approached. Now the new 12 in the row and he had received their packs. They were fine here, as they sat, and Jonas knew that each one was thinking about the training that lay ahead. For some, one student small had been a select doctor, a female as engineer, and another for laws and justice. It would be just the hard work and study. Others, like laborate and birth mothers, will have a much support training period. 18. Fiona, on his leg, was cold. Jonas knew she must be nervous, but Fiona was a calm female. She had been thinking keenly serenely throughout the ceremony. Even the applause, to no enthusiastic. Meant serenade when Fiona was given important assignment to a character of the world. It's the perfect function of sensitive, giggling girl, and her smile was satisfied and pleased when she took her seat beside him again. Jonas prepared his mind to walk to a stage when the applause ended and the child either picture of the next folder and looked on that the group to call forward the next 12, which was called to know that his turn had come. He took a deep breath and smoothed his hair with his hand. 20, he heard voice say so clearly. Pierre, she speaked me. Jonas threw stone. Had his heart groaned? No. There was a sudden hush in the crowd, and the Hugh knew that the individuality communicated recently that the chief elder had moved from 18 to 20, level agave. On his right, Pierre, why a startled look? Rose from his head and moved to the stage. A mistake, she made a mistake. But Jonas knew even as he had the truth that she hadn't. The child elder made no mistakes, not at the severity of 12. He felt dizzy and couldn't focus his attention. He didn't hear what as the case Pierre received, and was only dimly aware of applause in the boy returning wearing his new badge, the 21-22. The numbers continued in orders. Jonas said the same as they moved in the 30s and the 40s, nearing the end. Each time, Adasia announced his hair jumping for a moment, and the note went strong. Perhaps now she would call his name. Could he have forgotten his own number? No. He had always by 19. He was sitting in the same market, 19, but she had skipped him. She saw the others in the group, glazed at him, embarrassed, and they averted their eyes quickly. He saw a worried look on the face of his group leader. He hunched his shoulder, a tray of Michael's smaller in the sea. He wanted to disappear, to fade away, not desist. He didn't dare to admit of his parents in the crowd. He couldn't bear to see their faces darkened with shame. Jonas bogged his eyes at circles surrounding his mind. What had he grown?